Dan's a fantastic man. He really is.
Ladies,
what's going on, everybody?
Anyway,
this is
I'll tell you
Dan
about that
French. This is a French Workbench podcast here on a Tuesday. We got a full house, a lot of good information today. If you guys haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Also, if you guys have any comments during the show, please make some comments. Let us know if we can answer some questions. And you can call in studio at 702-557-6176. And again, we're streaming live from Las Vegas. And today we're going to talk about fewer first-time home buyers. We're going to give you an update on what's going on with the market. And also, home sales are beating estimates. A lot of people thinking that the housing market is going to crash here in Las Vegas. A lot of data supporting that it's not going to crash, so we're going to go into that. So let's get right into it. Let's go ahead and introduce everybody. What's going on, Mr. Matt Shield? He's back, man.
Back again.
What's going on, buddy? How are
Tell
you?
a friend. Matt is back.
Matt is back.
Oh boy.
What you been up to, man?
Where's that
Shield
man?
Team 6.
Okay, Shield Team 6 has been in the mix. I've been working hard.
Yeah.
And then also playing hard. I went out of town last weekend to La Jolla.
Yeah.
And every time I go to La Jolla, I always want to just stay there and become La Jolla Matt instead of whatever Matt I am in Vegas.
Did you take some surfing classes out there?
I can surf, actually. I can surf. So did a bit of surfing, did some open water swimming, recharged the mojo.
What, did you change your shirt?
I did.
Yeah, he did change his shirt.
Is that only like special occasion?
We also got
good-looking shirt
Mr.
on.
David
Too
Ramirez
much
over here.
skin.
What's going on, buddy? How are you?
Doing good, man. Doing good.
Good, good. What's going on with you? Anything new?
Yeah, just navigating this crazy real estate market. I mean, we got a roller coaster of different things going on. We have some clients that are in jeopardy of losing their deposits, so we're helping them navigate that as well.
I can second
new
that.
listings.
Go ahead, yeah.
Second,
We're
that's
going
it.
to talk about that today. So
Yeah.
got a lot of good information on that.
Absolutely.
So let's go right around the room here. We're going to talk to Mr. Joe Dragon. What's up, buddy? How are you today?
What's going on, Dan?
Not much, man. You've been consistently coming on here, so we really appreciate your insight and
It's your voice.
availability.
It's your voice.
It's my voice.
I gotta get Dan in my life.
That's it, man. You got to get Dan in your life. What have you been up to, man?
Not too. I went to Bryce Canyon over the weekend with the wife and baby.
Yeah.
You ever been there?
No. What's that about?
It's
It's beautiful.
yeah.
Is it
it's
beautiful?
Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome. It's a red rock thing.
Yeah.
Pretty
Look it
beautiful.
up. People got Google, right? So you can see some pictures. No, it was a good time though.
We also have Mr. Kit.carson. Dude, what's up, man? How you been, man? You've been
Man.
flipping homes, or?
I have been flipping homes, yeah.
You've been in the trenches, huh?
In the trenches, day in and day out. I appreciate you having me back on. It was a lot of fun the first time around. So
Yeah. I mean, we had a little extra stuff on the side, but everything else was pretty good the first time.
100%. 100%. I'm missing the JMO today, but that's all right.
Yeah,
I'll try and be just as fun.
No, you'll be fun, man. Everybody's going to get into it. So let's get right into what's going on in Las Vegas. So you look at the housing market, you look at first-time home buyers. We're going to get into that here in a second, but I want to talk about home selling at high numbers and people out there thinking that this market will crash. And a lot of data is coming out saying it won't crash. You know, you look at 10-year plus, and we're still having people buy homes. Is there a home shortage? Yeah, but we don't see, you know, obviously any signs that this housing market's going to crash here in Las Vegas. And so we have a lot of buyers that are still in the market, and we have a lot of people out there still searching for homes. Now, it's far and few between a little bit here. We have a shortage of homes still. But what our numbers we're looking at is we need to see days on the market. Hopefully it turns into months on the market, right? Months of inventory. And so a lot of people out here, they're going and making offers. And you guys have started to see a lot of, not issues, but maybe just some things, some hiccups with some of your buyers out there. And a lot of them are retracting. A lot of them are people that are maybe canceling out altogether. There's a problem maybe with the home inspection. So, Matt, let's talk about this, man. What's going on?
I thought we were gonna get into the day-to-day business.
Oh, we are.
We had like you had a schedule going.
We have a schedule. I have a schedule.
I'm not gonna interrupt the master. Matt, continue.
Go
What do you
ahead,
got?
Matt.
So what's going on? Like in what context?
Just like what your situation is, you see a lot of people out there. You said you had a lot of you had some cancellations. You're seeing a lot
Just
of
one.
Just one. Now,
Yeah.
what's going out there? What's on the street right now with the housing market and kind of what people are looking at? They think this market's going to crash. A lot of people have given
I'm
up.
sorry. When you say cancellation, what do you mean? Like the buyers pulling out at the last
Yeah,
second?
I'll get into it. I'll
Okay,
get into
all right,
it.
yeah, I'll let you-
So, I mean, what can I say? I mean, I can't speak for everyone, but in my experience, it's still brisk business. it's still challenging for some buyers. I have the only issue I have with my buyers are those that don't have any spare cash and are in a low price point.
Yeah.
But other than that, everything's fine. There's just ways to say things and word things and create fuzzy feelings to get what your client wants.
Yeah.
And make your stuff look better, even though it's the same as the other stuff.
Well, I think everybody yes.
That's it. That's all.
I mean, talking about like selling to.
No, I'm talking about getting offers accepted, and the main thing is like you can write stuff down and you can say stuff in an offer or a phone call, but if you don't resonate with the person and attract them to you, it's totally meaningless.
The seller. So how do you do that?
Or whoever the opposition is. I mean, the person you're going to collaborate with.
The listing agent.
So don't you
The listing agent.
the listing agent.
Whoever.
Go ahead.
Because you got to you gotta have a lot of tenacity and like persuasion and bells and whistles to get what your client wants at the moment. And that's talking for buyers and for sellers. I've only got one listing at the moment. It's 1.125 million, and I sold the house across the street for a set a record. And for sellers, that I think I'm a bit too high. I'm not getting many showings, and I don't know why. And I'm like, I've changed a couple things around. I think it's the location, and the house is just like, it's all right, but it's nice. But it's like the house across the street was really good. It's like
really good.
The dog's bollocks.
So, but is that like
I'm gonna need like a cheat sheet on like
language.
Slang
Now I just try and educate you guys.
No, I
That's what I'm
appreciate
doing.
it. I appreciate it. When I played golf in college, we played with these Australian boys, and I had a hard time understanding it. But by year 4, oh man,
got it.
I was like,
Got it down.
It's the C word.
You're like,
It's like,
dropping C-bombs.
they
What?
do.
They love the C-bomb.
oh my god.
what's
Yeah.
the C-bomb? I don't know what that is.
We can't talk about the C-bomb.
Oh,
It's the word that we said beforehand that we don't know if we want to say live anymore.
Yeah, it's related to the country.
Okay.
That was
like
a
a
very
country phrase?
diplomatic way of saying it, but yes.
Country.
Yeah. Yeah, we know what we're talking about here.
Yeah, exactly. So
So-
enough said about that.
Sales are somewhat down on your end, Matt.
So, I would say that for me, that's an ebb and flow of like my production cycle. I don't think sales are down. Like, that ebb and flow of my production cycle is on me. So, my
it's
sales
internal.
aren't down.
Gotcha. What about you, David? You had a cancellation, right? You said that last
I
couple
kind
days.
second with him. It's going right in the middle of it. Actually, it's a new home build, and we're helping our clients navigate through it as we speak. And it's with a new home builder. And what we're doing is their earnest money deposit is in jeopardy because they had a lot of moving parts going on. They had a property in California that they needed to refinance.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't able to pull out as much money on the refinance as they originally thought they were, so they were short on the funds. But the problem is, they still qualify for the financing. Mm-hmm. They're just not going to put as large.
So they got to go back and redo everything.
Yeah, so we have to renegotiate the contract. The build isn't going to be completed until December.
So what's
we have plenty of time.
the seller's
But
problem?
also, they haven't broken ground.
Exactly. They
So
haven't
it-
even poured the slab
It's
yet
really rude behavior on the builder's behalf.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what's the builder getting upset about?
because they're
They're
thinking
grabbing
about
the money.
They
Well,
want to
they-
hold the earnest money deposit,
They're gonna
and
keep,
they're saying it's
keep
not.
So they want to double dip
non-refundable.
here.
They're saying
Yeah.
it's non-refundable.
on that lot.
Yeah,
When's closing?
December.
Dude, could be a case
That's
for
why.
you.
I know. That's what we're talking about.
Set,
How about that?
set the dragon on
the
it.
Carson, same sort of thing.
He's my lawyer.
You should write them a nasty letter.
Yeah, you got till closing. I mean, just depending on what the contract.
Yeah,
actually
because
says.
the builders, they put such a short time period in the beginning of the contract.
And they're
They
trying to
get
do
it
two
6
things.
months
They're
out.
trying to double dip the interest money and hopefully get a better sale price.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Resell the lot.
No,
That's a
no,
joke.
no.
That's
Not
a Joe Dragon special.
not with a dragon in your corner.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me see that again.
Incinerate them.
So look, I mean, you got a lot of buyers out there that have lost hope, and I feel that there's a lot of people out there that think just now's not the time to buy. And maybe in contributing to why we're having issues is because you're out there and you're showing properties, right? And you have people back out. Is this because we just don't have a lot to choose from on the existing side? Maybe it's they're very limited on how many or what homes are out there. And then you have people out there that have given up altogether. You got people think the market's going to crash. I mean, there's a lot of misinformation out there that I think people are going through, and they're looking at it going, well, I better make the right choice this time. So maybe some of the cancellations are due because of a bad home inspection.
I'm going through. I haven't cancelled yet, but it's what I don't like. I rarely ever cancel a deal, and like I don't like it because it's a waste of energy and it wastes everyone's time. Waste the buyer's time, waste the seller's time, waste the mortgage lender's. It's not waste, but it's wasted energy, right?
Right.
And in this particular instance,
yeah. But what do you got to choose from? What I mean by that is, let's say you have a buyer that wants to get a house, and you're trying to strategically do these things where you're like, you know what, this is the right offer. Maybe that's not.
This particular instance, right? I've only lost one. I've never lost the client's EMD. I've had one client that put their EMD on the sacrificial pyre because the day of closing, she decided that she wasn't going to live with this guy, and that she wasn't going to move to Vegas. And I said, that's going to cost you $5,000.
So they released it.
They released it because it was on the day of closing that they didn't close, and it was a short sale.
Oh, no. Like, sued for specific performance.
So anyway,
now we got the jargon down.
Here's the thing: is when I start a transaction, usually, like I become friends with the other side, unless it's adversarial, and then I like beat them up, and then with like addendums and words, and like things that are like that you can do
using the English language there
in writing.
Do you write in accent? Like
the Queen's English.
I don't know. I can come across snotty in written language.
Yeah, like very proper.
Like it's. But anyway,
sorry.
So the thing is that this particular Kate, like this instance.
Yeah.
My buyer, I came across the buyer because they were disappointed by another agent in my office who's lazy, and is more about ego than like showing his mettle and getting it done for his clients. And so I threw him under the bus and took the client. Nice. And then
he goes, nice.
Yeah, no, I
Way
did.
to provide food for your table.
Exactly.
If I'm on the field,
Matt knows.
So like when I used to play rugby, you just need to.
Oh, you're a rugby guy.
Yeah, you need to fumble a little bit, and I'll knock you off like straight away.
What position you play?
I was number 7, which is open side flanker, which is
outside.
The guy that goes to the breakdown and messes stuff up.
Right before the wing.
No, it's on the forward.
I'm
the forward.
Okay,
forward. So anyway,
I played wing, so I can't keep it all straight.
Easy life on the wing.
I got concussed 3 times.
I know, but you got to run.
Don't tell that. You need to bleep that out. No brain injury.
So with this particular instance, what happened was my buyer was becoming part of a business, and first of all, we opened escrow. It was a contingent offer, which is a weak offer, and I got that my client accepted 3 contingent offers, and he was out of town. And then I just said, come into town and decide which house you want. And then I did it like really quickly. And then, so to induce the seller to accept the contingent offer, I said in one of the terms of the offer, I said, the buyer will release $5,000 to the seller when we have mutual agreement on the repairs and before the end of the 10 days diligence. So that was like $5,000 to the seller.
A little carrot.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, you use in writing offers, you can present a carrot in the offer, but it's a fake carrot because you can do something else afterwards and that carrot's gone. Mm-hmm. And so in this instance,
that's an interesting hand gesture.
We're talking about carrots.
Yeah.
So then what happened was they didn't give us the SRPD, the seller's real property disclosure, in a timely manner. And so I let it slide for a bit, and then they didn't change the status in the MLS. And then I thought maybe nefarious activities going on where they're still like soliciting offers, and we put $10,000 into escrow for earnest money deposit, and that's not fair on my buyer. So luckily, it's the saving grace of the situation. I lit them up like after 3 requests, and then I said, you need to give us 5 days more diligence because I'm not going to do the home inspection until we receive the SRPD from your seller, and I never do that. And then I got an extra 5 days diligence, and then we want the house. But yesterday I found out that the buyer's plan to have a business here has failed, and now he may or may not be able to get the financing to get the house.
So you got to pull out at the end.
But so yeah, we have to pull out.
So you had about 3 contingencies in place.
So then, so now here's the thing. It's at midnight tonight.
Yeah.
And I sent it out to cancel, but like I feel a bit of a dick because I don't like not doing what I say I'm gonna do.
Yeah,
but this is completely outside of my control.
Yeah, your side of it's not even. It's not.
I
even,
know, but I don't like it because it's a sad situation for everybody. It's sad for the seller. They're thinking they're going to get $5,000 tomorrow, and they're not.
So are they? They're really trying to keep the earnest money, or they're going to say, "I'm going to."
We
give
haven't
it back?
spoken about that yet.
Okay.
But like, I think it's pretty clear how it's worded. But in order to get your earnest money deposit released, the buyer and seller both have to sign off.
So here, let's talk about that for a second. So you're out there, and you're somebody that's putting an offer in on a house, and you guys know about this, and I think everybody here. Why would the seller not want to try to get the money if, let's say, you're 2 or 3 weeks into the process and now you're doing everything you can on the seller side, but the buyer didn't perform, right? So
I'd say number one reason, so you guys agree, is because they think they get a better price. Market's changed. They have a different idea. They're like, went in for too low and now I want to go up.
So
right or no?
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
yeah, or they just fail to uphold their end of the contract, and then keep their
earnest money.
Yeah, but you got to understand, on the listing side, you have to have everything airtight to get the EMD. Like you can't, there's the financing contingency, there's all these different things. And then if no one agrees to release the EMD at the end, and if one side is butthurt, if the buyer's butthurt and they don't sign to release the EMD, then the EMD sits in escrow because the escrow company, people think they're the policeman of a transaction. They're not. I call escrow the traffic conductor of the transaction.
100%.
And so the only way you can get that EMD released is if you have a judgment if people aren't agreeing.
Yeah.
And
because they don't, they're not going to put themselves in a liable situation.
So how to protect yourself against that on the listing side is that if they need an extension, the only way that I grant extensions if it's expired from contract is to have the seller release money totally release money to my seller and buy the extension. You don't give extensions and say, I'll give you an extra 3 or 4 days, because if you give an inch, people will take a mile, and then you're stuck in a sticky situation.
Yeah. What does your buyers say about this? Like when they're going through the process and they find out.
Oh, my buyer's got more problems, right?
Well, here's what I'm saying is let's say that they're in the process and then they find out the financing's not there. They just can't do it, right?
So that never happens with me because I make sure that they're all put together before we start punching out offers. They have to be fully underwritten. And but you had a mistake about the guy thought he was going to have more. I know, but that was a material change in his business environment happened, right? Now, the other thing, let me go back to that instance, is the buyers even got more concerns because they sold their house. They're in contract in Arizona to sell their house. And Arizona is very strict about specific performance. And so they don't have somewhere to move to, and they've got their house in contract. And so they may, unless they can be cool with the buyer and figure something out, or the buyer lets it go, they may have to sell their house now, and then they're not going to own a house anymore. But they'll have $500,000 in equity. So it's first world problems for sure, right? But you got to be careful.
It's a pain, yeah.
Yeah, it's a pain. It's a pain.
So, I mean, on your end, because we're talking about the housing market, whatever. I think we started with the crash and why people were canceling and whatnot. So this year, because you guys purchase homes in disrepair, right? So first of all, did you see a big uptick since January? I think last time you said you did, right?
Compared to last year, yes, but the pandemic was a weird time. As soon as everything shut down in March, it was leads went to zero for 2 months,
3 months, and then came back.
And then they came back. This year, I would say the beginning of the year it was good, and then it kind of tapered off as our real estate market normally does here in Las Vegas, right? Back to school, people going on vacation in July and things like that. But it's all right.
So so if we're talking about I mean, because we're talking about what happened. Is there a crash? And the first question is,
no.
Well, I think it's contributing to why people are scared. Maybe they're just a little bit pushed. They're on standby, right, to see what's going to happen in the housing market. There's you got the crash that's maybe people thinking that the market's going to start to come down or this market's going to crash.
One thing is though, right, is that with inflation being palpable and with the increase in the money supply, like it's unlikely. What's a crash? A crash is prices going down more than 20%.
Yeah, and that's
right.
It's
that's
impossible.
that's impossible for it to happen because they increase the money supply by 25%.
Yeah, but let me say this.
So it's impossible for us to have a crash, right?
Okay, I got a question.
Do you think, Kit?
It was.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Okay, maybe it was 08. We had a crash. I think there was one in like late 80s, right?
Well,
real estate
yes.
crash. How many times has this happened in our society where we had real estate?
There's a recession every 7 years.
Right.
give or take,
Yeah.
and we're on like a 18-year bull run right now.
Well, recession, but I'm talking about just real estate specific.
Real estate usually it kind of softens during those recessions, but they are different. You're correct.
Right.
Yeah,
So
there was a small one in 2001, 9/11.
Yeah.
Small recession happened there, but then
yeah,
we ticked back
but
up.
when you're saying recession, you're talking about the whole economy, right? Which affects everything
Two
negative.
consecutive quarters of downturn.
Versus 08, there was a bubble, specifically in the real estate market
And it went
that
down.
caused the thing or whatever.
Yeah.
I thought there was another kind of real estate bubble in the 80s, or am I just making that up?
I mean,
I think there was a recession when Reagan was getting elected in 1981,
Like
right?
81, 87.
But it's because we had an
98,
inflation
like a
crisis
massive
in the
depression.
70s.
No, I'm just talking about when real estate is the cause. For instance,
I
the
don't know.
101 was 9/11, and there was the dot-com bubble.
regardless of when it happens, though, I think what I'm saying is it does happen, and there is a time period. But that's what people are afraid of. When we call people, if I make outbound calls, right? Because we all still make calls. One of the things they say is, you know what, prices are too high, and the other thing is we're waiting for the market to come down or potentially crash. And I think, and when I mean crash, it's not like it's going to be back when it was, but they're looking for price reductions, 20 to 25%.
yeah,
specifically
when interest
real
rates
estate.
go up.
But there is okay. So let's use some of these as examples. I think you're right. A lot of buyers are saying that for sure, but also a lot of sellers say that. I'll be in an appointment where they're like, "Well, I want to sell right now because God knows what's going to happen."
Yeah,
at
but
the end
fear
of the year.
works on your side.
100% in that case.
In your role.
100% in that case. But the buyer side, it's really frustrating. It really is, because I mean, you can't argue that Las Vegas will drop more. Even if you want to argue that it will, we're talking like 2%, 3%.
So basically,
4%.
that's not going to happen. We all agree that this is
Yeah.
probably.
I don't think
Yeah,
it will.
I mean, if you run into a major economic crisis, right?
Like
Everything's going to crash. Real estate, cars, whatever, jobs, everything. But we're talking about, is the real estate market going to be in this type of bubble that, because I think that's what they're thinking about, because they were in that position 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Is that going to happen? I'd say absolutely not. And I made this point a lot as to why. It wasn't just because of subprime lending. It was because people were buying houses for investment. I mean, purposes. I lived up in Northern Nevada at the time. Communities went up and nobody lived in it because that was the bubble. That is not happening here. Every single house is completely filled. So if you think that's going to pop, absolutely not. We're dealing with supply and demand issues. There's not enough supply, and it was pushed down artificially because of the pandemic, right? Which was contracted it, and now you have a boom.
So my question is why are people still feeling this way though? Because look, we can all say this and say, you know what, we got data. We have, price. We have
because
over
they
5
went
million
through it.
homes.
When you call up a buyer, Dan, like when they say I'm afraid of the price, how old are they typically? Can you give me an estimate?
Well, I mean, we don't
That's a
really
good
get into like as far as demographics.
Just decade, 30s, 20s, or 40s. Have any idea?
I think it's the younger generations. I'm not saying everybody, but I would say majority, and people that are probably looking for that first home to get started, and maybe get into a position to buy, or trying to time the market. Maybe they're trying to say, you know what, I'm moving over there and price has just gone crazy. I don't even want to deal with it. So I'm going to sit back. I'm going to wait. I'm going to sit on the sidelines. You see it all the time, right, David?
Yeah, I know. I completely agree with them as well. As this, we might have a downturn, but it's due to the fact that we're having a pandemic similar to 9/11. The way we had somewhat of a downturn, it was a small, maybe 10% decrease in housing, but it wasn't a direct result of the housing like in 2008. The market crashed because of bad lending, bad housing. This time, what we're dealing with is forbearance, people dealing with COVID in a pandemic situation, which is similar to what the downturn was in 9/11.
Yeah.
I would argue, though, that a lot of this will be alleviated when people's fear of the pandemic subsides. I thought it was going to subside already. I really
don't
did.
you feel that they've kind of gone that direction?
No,
though?
I went to
think
two
it's
appointments
coming
today. I went to 2 appointments today. The seller, both of them were like, "We'd love for you to wear a mask, and we would like you to wear gloves too."
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah,
fear
but
is
can I
like
say-
still
yeah,
there.
But also, that there is fear there for some people.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, some people have fear and some people get off on it.
Well, yeah, yes.
It's like a risk taker, right? It's
Yeah.
like,
No,
hey,
they like
you're not-
it.
They
Yeah,
like
I
it.
know what you mean. I think it's more like a.
They like the.
We're not talking
enfor-
about politicians. Come
No,
on.
no.
They love the fear.
I'm talking about people that like to enforce their will on other people, and they don't
Oh,
have
yeah.
any other opportunity
100%.
to
Yeah.
do so
100%.
other than this facade.
but I don't think they're consciously doing it.
No,
That's
because, that's true. That's completely
more-
true because they're not conscious.
It's just
Yeah.
But I think I really feel that when that's alleviated, the sellers that are sitting on the sideline will come to the market,
Yeah.
and then therefore inventory will come
Well,
up.
and when we don't, I mean, the point of asking those questions was because everyone I know that had a house in 08, or especially if they had bought, a couple years before that, are just strictly afraid of a housing real
yeah.
estate because they went through it. It's like when you had your
Yeah.
grandparents talk about hiding money in the mattress because they went through the
Great
depression.
Depression. Yeah,
Even
yeah.
though it didn't happen to them. Like
Yeah,
you told
can
me
I-
that before. I'm not going to
can
buy
I-
your stuff to do, which isn't
I
totally
agree.
a rational place to be. But you've got to look for differences and similarities and understand we're in a completely different situation.
But not everybody's an economist. That's the problem, right? They a lot of people they invest based on emotion. A lot of people.
Well, I mean, they'll still debate all day like what caused that crash, and I'm like, it's in my mind, it's not very complicated. You overbuilt supply for 10 years, and when you couldn't get the prices anymore for it, it all went boom. And because everybody owned a house, they all felt like they had no money and weren't spending. That's what caused the recession part.
Right, right.
And so I'm just saying, I understand if you're out there and you're like, I'm nervous about it. And the fact is, when you see a commodity go up, like a stock or a house, and you've seen it go up on the sidelines for 8 months, you're reluctant to pull back. In fact, I think, if I remember correctly, there was a big kind of. It took till about 2013 before we really had the bottom out. Then from about 15 to I think around 18, you had this kind of big jump in prices. I mean, you guys went through that. It was going up, 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 up. It kind of plateaued at 18. I think a part of that was if you're sitting on the sidelines, you stopped buying because you're like, and then when it flattened out, people started buying again. Then it got stalled because of COVID. Then it shot back up. And I think we're at another plateau because of that. I don't want to buy something that has gone up the last 12 months at this rate.
Yeah,
That's just a psychological thing.
And that's completely valid. However, in the context of the Las Vegas market, with what you've mentioned previously today about like supply issues and like there's also like a constriction of available land to develop. Like we're in a fishbowl, the fishbowl is filling up, and like.
But that's
with
just more point of it going up. What you're saying right there.
Exactly.
There's
And
more
so what I'm
supply
saying
issues.
is, when people say I'm waiting for it to go down, I was like, I point blank tell them it's not going to happen, and here's why. And if you can get into a home now, I suggest you do so because when interest rates eventually go up, you're going to be hating life
Yeah, and
because your affordability is going down on the rate and on the price point as well.
And Dan, we've had this questions imposed all season. What are we in an artificial market? And like, there's got to be a ceiling. And I'm like, does there though? Because San Francisco, LA, Seattle, they all went through this big price, and I didn't see their prices go down.
No.
They seem to somehow sustain it.
But
How I don't know.
here's the thing
but,
that's messed up because some people will think when you say that to them, they'll think as a salesperson that sells real
You're
estate.
trying to entice them. You're just trying to.
I'm not being salesy. I'm telling you the truth, my version of the truth of how I foresee things. And like some people that aren't going to buy, they just talk, they'll never buy.
Yeah.
They'll never buy because they're just talkers and repeaters. Like you've got to throw down at some point and make a stance. And if you don't want to make a stance, that's fine. But don't try and sell me your beliefs because you're not a real estate professional and you're not in the trenches every day.
And to your point, I think somebody out there who's buying a home like to live in, right? You're not an investor, right? Investors will have this discussion about
Totally different.
I'm going to buy all these properties. Is it going to go up and down or whatever? I mean, you're thinking, I would think I'm going to be in there for like 10, 20 years at least, right? So honestly, if you buy and then by this time next year, it went down by 5%, what you're looking at Zillow, what you hear around the neighborhood, who cares?
Yeah.
Like that's not the purpose that you bought the property, right? You don't pull equity out every 6 months, right? No one's gonna ever hit it perfectly, ever, right? So I would say, no, we're not gonna go to 20% crash. And by the way, if the worst thing ever happened, it's happened before, and we came back out of it, and people still would have made money on their house in 07 had they just held on to it for 30 years, like they originally planned to do.
Yeah.
You know, so that's
What do
just
you
kinda
think,
my
David?
take.
I mean, you think that the market's kind of going like people are just they're scared a little bit, right? And they don't know if this is the timing or the right time to do it. What do you think?
And that's a great example too. The properties in 2006, 2005, because I bought a property in 2006 at the very peak when a lot of people were losing their houses, and now that exact same property is worth 30% higher than it was in 2006.
You still own it?
I still own it, yeah.
Right. So you had
Good for you.
So I've been refinancing it about every 5 to 7 years. Now I
Nice.
just recently refinanced it, lowered the rate, and now I'm finally cash flowing on the property with a tenant in place.
It's a
the rates have gone
home.
up.
It's a long-term investment. It served both purposes for you. You didn't freak out where on paper
And I
it
had
said
about
you didn't have money.
I had about 3 years of negative cash flow just to hang on to it. I had a tenant in place for about 3 years, and I had to pay negative cash flow on top of that just to keep the mortgage going.
Right.
Matt, I want to
for
bring
you.
up something real quick because I want to kind of go back into mindset of when we're talking about your client, because the market to me seems like it may be slowing down. I don't know if it's because of school, but you know, people right now, they're maybe trying to take advantage of a slower market. Maybe it's starting to, you know, kind of ease back a little bit. The demand is still there, but the properties aren't. But going back to your client was a self-employed person. Now, what is their mindset? Are they going to retry with getting approved with somebody else that's another lender? Like, what is their goal now? Are they just discouraged?
No, I mean they're discouraged because they're really upset because it was a big maneuver and they were emotionally attached to the idea of having a new life compared to from Arizona to Vegas. So you just got to be pragmatic. He's at, you know,
They're not worried about losing like that earnest money. I mean, I know the talk is, but
not
they
at the
gonna
moment, but I've warned them.
Right, are they
And,
gonna-
and it's
yeah.
not going to be my fault if they do, but they're pushing it. But like, I haven't received notification to cancel the. Oh look,
There you go.
look
There it is.
Still waiting on the damn buyers to my house. Don't worry, I will be letting you know tonight. I'm like,
It's
he's
tonight.
pushing it. Yeah, but
It's
Who's that?
7.
Is that the lender?
no, that's the buyer.
I guess we got
But,
4 more.
I mean,
5 more
I'll
hours.
call.
Yeah.
I mean, I could just make the call now if you like.
No, we can't.
Content.
No,
It's
we
not
can't do that,
good.
man. We
It's
can't
not-
put somebody on blast.
No, it's not good.
No, but you know, I think what it is.
By the way, I was joking about that.
No, I got you. If you try to get back in the market, though, let's say you can't, they cancel, right? They're out of the market. They're not going to be able to get the house. How hard is it to obviously, there's going to be a battle, and it could be mediation to get that EMD back, the earnest money deposit, if the seller wants to be real, you know, stickler about it.
I think it should be pretty straightforward. It's only $5,000, and so that's small claims. So it should be simple. But more importantly, I don't enjoy being in this situation because the agent trusted me. I told them what was going to happen, and they trusted me. And now I'm going to have to make the call and say,
I would say
bad
I would
news,
say
it's
the
not gonna
buyer
work
agent.
out.
The buyer agent probably looks the worst on this. I'll tell you, because you got to look at it that the buyer agent is representing the buyer, and if the buyer doesn't work out, well, they're going to say,
No.
did you have that work out? You don't think so?
Because I am a conduit of getting stuff
That
done.
word again.
I love
You
that word
conduit.
Yeah.
because then if I say to myself I'm the conduit, then I'm just like the channel, and it's nothing to do with me personally.
Well, no, nobody's saying that. But
I know,
I would,
but like,
I would agree that.
But I
feel
do
like,
take it personally,
Yeah.
Kit. I
Yeah.
take it personally,
Yeah.
but I just have to be straightforward, and that's how I can make
Yeah.
relationships out of bad
Well,
situations.
I mean, in the day, you got to represent your client's interest
Yeah,
too.
at the
You
end of
gotta-
the day,
I mean,
yeah.
no choice.
Yeah.
So it's-
100%.
I think it's
totally
just a
deal.
bad place to be, though, and it's one of those things. Now, let's say that they do get their earnest money back, and let's say they're back and they're trying to buy a house again. Are they going to be a little bit more, discouraged, walking out there going, "Hey, let's make another offer"?
No.
And plus, you got to really get that financing in place because look, at the end of the day,
the whole deal could be a scratch.
yeah.
Because of the financing.
It actually gets them a little more confidence because now they know exactly what to prepare for in that type of situation. And if they had any issues with the financing, now they can prepare for that in for the future purchase.
That's true. I don't know if I would go that route though, where I'm going to go through where I'm risking that to learn that, because you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah,
it's kind of a hard thing to put yourself in and say, "Oh, I learned from that." But I get what you're saying, 100%.
Well, he's the optimist at the table. Come on now.
Yeah, you got to have them.
You got to turn it on its head somehow.
But I mean, you look at the market. So are you seeing a slowing in the market right now? Are you seeing things start to slow down a little bit?
I'd say that I tell my clients, good news, it's not white hot, it's just really, really hot. Because there's been a slight step down from white hot to like really, really hot.
I would agree.
And what is that? That's about an extra week or two.
Yeah, or it's only 3 offers instead of 20. On
Exactly. So
that's
positive.
good news,
the house is still selling. It's just not.
But that's good news because we need more properties where there's less offers, and we're starting to see that, right? I mean, a lot.
Why is that? Why is that happening? I think it's like a natural thinning of the herd.
Well, I think in Vegas though we have this ebbs and flow monthly kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we're in that down right now. And
The last quarter's
typically
busier normally.
Yeah,
to me.
so it's usually well, that's interesting because December is usually a crap month. But if you buy a house,
why is it a crap month?
Just holidays.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean personally, or you meant like business?
Business.
Okay.
I love Christmas. Okay. Sure. My wife cooks big Italian. God.
Are you Italian?
She is. I'm not.
Okay.
I look like a Viking.
I was gonna say.
I am a Viking.
Yeah, you look like a Sven.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, I love Italian food. Yeah.
Me too. But my point is like we have this market right now, and it just is the way it is. From July to September 1, it always slows just a little, and then it picks back up September, October. October is usually the busiest month.
So, especially school. I mean, people aren't looking to switch. Right. I mean, that'd be a pain.
They wanted to buy earlier so then their kids could go to school in that district by the time. So they bought in June.
Yeah, when you saw the rush going on.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you're probably going to see this flatten out, then probably tick back up again in a few months. I mean, I think
100%.
that's kind of we're back on normal market forces without the COVID correction.
Now, if we lock down again, though,
Right.
We're not going to lock down, are we?
I don't know.
Who's talking like that?
I want to talk to David about something here. David, so
No, Matt thinks
you've
so.
had some situations, right, recently where you've had a lot of buyers backing out or cancellations. I'm not saying this is a trend that's happening across Las Vegas. What's happening with your situations, though? Like, why are buyers, I'm sure there's different reasons, but tell us what's happening over there.
Well, it's just that that one buyer that's in the new home build situation that we're trying to resolve it. I mean, we have plenty of time. It's not going to be completed until December, so I think we're going to get it resolved. We just have to find the right avenue for this buyer, and I think a lower down payment. They're still going to get into the property, and then eventually they, like you said, they can refinance down the road and things like that. So I think we'll find a solution for this buyer down the road because we have plenty of time, and I think just every buyer is case by case. They have different situations.
Yeah, I mean, but does it seem like is it people just canceling or backing out right now because they're just not certain that this is the house for them, or there's just different things happening that is unforeseen? Like why is I'm not saying they're canceling all together, like everybody's canceling. It's just just seemed like there's more of a wave a little bit, I guess, of being a little bit of a slower market, and you're seeing some buyers just wanting to back out for different reasons.
Yeah, it hasn't been any personal reasons. It hasn't been the buyer where they want to back out and get their money back out. It's always been either a financial reason or some relocation with the family and things like that. So, I mean, as far as that goes, I think it's a combination of things with the market. Like they said, back to school, people are traveling. COVID kind of opened up. Now we're kind of closing back down, but it opened up in the middle, the beginning of the month. So we had a combination of things that caused a little bit of a slowdown.
Do you feel the market's slowing down?
Well, I think just for this quarter. And then, like you said, we're going to start ticking back up.
Well, do you
a
think
little
it's going to be a quarterly thing, or is it because of the people going back to school? Maybe everybody's maybe see the prices if they're going to settle down. Maybe there's not a lot of homes. I mean, there's contributing factors, right? But is it just because of it's just this time of year? I mean, I guess.
It's this time of the year. It's a combination of things, and I think the only thing that's going to, if it's going to make it worse, is that the second variant, right? The Delta variant, whatever that is. If we get
the English variant, I believe,
wave,
It's a bad curse word.
if that thing cranks back up, then who knows? That's an unforeseen thing that we don't know what's going to happen. But if that doesn't come back, we're going to see it go back up.
Yeah, this is not like a market where everybody can just predict or can count on a certain trend of something happening.
And
it just seemed like there's always a hiccup on something. Again,
and you know what's interesting about that? Because you talk about economics, right? You kind of realize that really what controls everything is just people's thoughts.
Perception
That's
of
literally
reality.
what economics.
Perception.
How much am I going to make? If I feel like I'm going to make a bunch next month, I'm going to spend a lot of money. If I don't, so it's all psychological. And I think what's interesting with, I have no idea how this is going to play out, is COVID is one thing. But if you were to ask anybody in 1819 that this virus would come out and be pretty bad, but not crazy bad. This is, I mean, compared to other crazy outbreaks. Would everybody shut down, stay at home, and not leave? They'd say, like, that's insane. That wouldn't happen. But as we've gone through it, you kind of realize, hey, this world isn't as nearly predictable as I once thought it was.
So I got stuff that's come out that said it's worse, right? Have you guys seen anything that it's worse? Not just on the housing market, just the overall the pandemic is not that it's worse where we're shutting down, but the people getting it is just as bad, if not worse, than when we first started. That's some of the data.
Who knows?
I mean, everybody has their own opinion.
It's a video game.
It's like who you ask.
Yeah. So I mean, to me, it's just kind of crazy how that fear, like you said, that fear can dictate what's going to happen in this housing market. It's going to dictate what people believe.
And that's my point. If you bought a house when you were 22 back in 06, you know, now you're what, 34, you had this housing thing happen to you. You had this weird thing with the pandemic. You're like, tomorrow could be anything.
But then I don't understand why they don't sell. See, that's what my brain is like, okay, if you're that afraid,
because you want to
sell it.
Yeah, because you want to buy it.
Yeah, but then sell it. Well, but a lot of these people that sit there, I don't know. I feel like if they were that afraid, they would sell it, cash in on the equity, rent, and then if they really feel the market's going to go down, let it go down. And I see some people do that. Some people do that.
I also think too, there's a lot of people out there that have they do research, right? And they probably feel like they got a pretty good grasp on what's going on in the market.
No,
they don't.
I took Finance 402, which was financial predictions, right? Or
like modeling.
Yeah. I learned one, you need to have a lot of calculus to understand how to do those issues. Number two is you cannot financially forecast. It's basically what the professor taught. This is pretty much impossible, what you're trying to do. So when people do research, it's like...
Cause you can get so skewed
Tell
off
that to the Bitcoin people.
with one little thing that's wrong, and then you're in
You can't... Think about what would happen next year, right? There are literally trillions of variables and so many things. There's no way you can create a model to account for that. So you say, I think the housing market's going to crash, assuming X, Y, Z through, a million remain constant. All these, which never happens. So it doesn't matter how much.
The conclusion is just buy the damn house and live in it. That should be
the conclusion is, can you afford it? Do you feel like you can, they got a stable job, you have no problem making payments for the foreseeable future or whatnot? And if so, and you want to buy it, then buy it. But quit this game of like going up and down.
Yeah, but it's a big investment for somebody that's buying their...
It shouldn't be. It should be used as a commodity, though.
If you're buying a property, that's probably the biggest investment a middle-class person or upper middle-class person does make in their lifetime. I'm not saying that, but that's a big decision, right? So as the prices keep going up, yes, should you get into a house? I think so, but it's also got to make sense. You can't be mortgage broke. You can't just put yourself in a position where your family's not going to...
Well, that's why I said, can you afford it? I didn't say go mortgage broke. If you can't afford it, you can't afford it.
Right.
And you're not going to have fairy tales come and help you out.
And I think one of the biggest factors we're talking about is consumer confidence, right? And how does that play a role? And especially in today's world, we're all connected, right? So back in the day, people weren't as connected. Now, consumer confidence can be manipulated within seconds on a global scale.
With a tweet.
Exactly.
A tweet can change the entire global
We're talking
economy.
about the 80s and 90s where neighbors were talking maybe, oh, my house is going down, this and that. Now with a single tweet, the entire planet is connected.
There's so much conflicting information. It's almost like, how do you make the right decision, right? And I think that's where people are looking at. Do I make the right decision by buying now? Matt makes up a good point. He has clients come out and you're representing them well. But I think a lot of people just don't know, like, is this the right time? Should I wait? If I did back out, can I get into another house? So I don't know. It just seems like there's a lot of uncertainty on
of course, you're talking
every
about
level.
Forecasting.
Well,
but based on the knowledge that we know and how we see things going, I think everybody in this room is kind of come to the conclusion, like the likelihood of this going down substantially.
There would have to be a black swan event.
I mean, another crazy COVID.
100%.
But it's not even related to COVID.
Something out.
World War III starts.
COVID. COVID didn't even bring down the market though. It went up 20%. So it's if you're afraid.
So what does that tell you, right? So we had a pandemic, and then the consumer confidence was still there to buy a home. So I guess the question is there anything that's going to, like, we know that people get derailed when they're buying a house, but will there ever be a point where consumer confidence really starts to lose itself with going into,
hope not.
You know what I mean?
I hope not. But I guess the only advice that you can give it to anybody is you should just talk to a professional. If you're really that afraid of the market, talk to a professional that knows what they're doing day in and day out, and they will quickly show you the data on that it's not going to crash. I think that would be the best thing you could
I
do.
think the reasonable, logical consensus out there in the community is that this thing's not going to crash. By the way, if for some reason World War III did start and it did crash, doesn't mean the people descended are correct, right? That just means they got the low odds, right? They hit the bingo, right? That doesn't mean that they're making the decision from an intelligent point of view. The intelligent point of view is like odds are very high that you're not going to see a substantial crash. Does that mean it's like 100% it's going to happen? No, but that's not how you make decisions in life. You can't. Nothing's 100% certain.
I got a question for you, Matt, and that brings up a good point. So, do you have people that are like, you got people that buy? I mean, they trust you and everything, but are you dealing with people that maybe you just don't? You kind of not guide away from those clients, but ones that don't really, they're not confident, they're not 100% sure that they're going to buy, and you're like working with them, and they seem like they want to buy or they're on the fence.
No, I don't deal with any of those people.
None of those people, right?
I mean, my job isn't to like make you buy. Like, my job is to get you, if you want to buy, to get it. And I don't, in my production cycle, I don't do any education. I just talk to people that are like thinking about it or moving towards it. But my job isn't to convince anyone to buy.
No, I mean, I think it's like, too, like you look at your situation and David, I mean, you guys, how many people do you talk to on a weekly basis that you call them? Let's say, hey, call me back in 4 or 5 months, call me back in 8 months. These people got money. They probably have some money sitting on, in a bank somewhere, obviously, or some assets, but then they just keep pushing it down. Like, hey, I don't want to buy this. I'm going to wait to see what happens. I'm going to wait to see what happens. I'm going to wait. Maybe it's not the right area. Oh, Las Vegas is now not the location I want to be at. I'm going to go to, Texas or something.
I mean, if they go to a different state, that's totally out of my hands. But like, all the people that didn't buy
Calls you up.
are much poorer now. And I told them to buy.
Explain that.
Well, they're poorer because they didn't buy. They've missed out on an opportunity, and at
least on paper.
On paper, but like I had people that were thinking about it and procrastinated. And now they're out. Like, they would maybe we're going to buy a house for like 450, 500,000. Now they're looking at spending like 650, 700,000.
Yeah.
And they didn't activate
now it's
their
like
dream.
a double hammer on their
yeah.
head.
And
they're
so
not
it's
gonna
just
do it now.
unfortunate.
Yeah. Again, it's just I wouldn't try to overlook it. I mean, what do you think, Kit? Like, where are you seeing when you talk to potential buyers?
He's 100% right. And I get very frustrated when they don't want to listen to logic. And so, at the end of the day, they're just not my client.
That's it.
And if I don't vibe with my client, then
no big deal.
then I don't vibe
No big
with
deal.
them. Yeah.
No big deal.
Call the next realtor.
Go sell your house to Zillow and get hosed.
And that's a good thing. Like, find somebody that works well with you, who you are, because it's not, trying to force.
But I mean, I don't know. I just think that there's a lot of people that are skeptical about this market, and I think that's what I'm bringing up is maybe they're thinking that market's going to come down. So the three things I look at is the timing, right? This market right now is slow. The timing to buy right now is that the prices are too high. And, with those people that are first-time home buyers, we're going to talk about this, what's really out there for them, right? What do they have to choose from? Like your typical client, and we'll talk about all three of it, what is your typical average price point for a client that you work with, Matt?
Probably like 450. It's got higher actually this year because prices have gone up.
So that's like
but
the median
say
house,
like
right?
500-ish.
Okay, and David, what about you?
We're the same. The medium home price around 400.
Just think about that. So I mean, that's a big jump from 3 years. Yeah, Kit.
I play in the sludge, so most of my clients are like 250, 300.
Do you think it's more appropriate to say that you slide in the sludge?
Yes. I make mud pies. No, because that's the homes that I buy. So that's just my market.
Well, it was 250. Now they're like creeping up to 350.
Well, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. We used to say probably 2 years ago, we'd be like, our bread and butter is 300,000 or less. Now it's like 450,000 or less.
Yeah.
So fair.
Yeah. So,
I mean, the first-time home buyers right now that I'm seeing is a lot of them don't really have a shot. I mean, if you got your own, you can't put. What if you only have, just your down payment? What if you don't have closing costs? What if you don't have any gifts?
It's real hard.
Yeah, there's no shot.
I mean, that's kind of the reality. I mean, not to sound kind of like, I really love San Diego. It's one of the coolest cities in the country. Well. I'd love to live in San Diego. I never realistically ever thought of living there because I couldn't pay for it. Was it fair? Probably not. Probably their parents lived there and they were able to get some deal or whatnot, but it was what it was. I had to go where I went to, just work out life. I lived in the middle of Nevada for a year and a half because it presented a good opportunity. I mean, that's just kind of part of life.
Whenever I go to San Diego or California to the beach, I always want to move there. But then I think to myself, I'm in vacation mode and everything. I'm looking at everything with rose-tinted glasses.
Yeah.
Do you think it would be the same if you had to hustle and live there? You think?
Absolutely. My wife
never get
lived
tired of
there
that
for
weather.
3 years.
Oh, really?
She loved it. I mean, it's as
only
far
had
as cities go. I mean, I don't know. What do you think, Kit? You ever been to San Diego?
I love San Diego.
Yeah.
With my
Beautiful.
business, in 2 years, I've only sold homes. I've only had 2 clients move to San Diego. Everyone else has been coming.
Yeah,
from
because it's just not
California.
practical.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense.
I mean,
I had one client move to, they moved to Newport though, and I remember talking to them about selling their house, and they were like, "Yeah, we want to sell this, move to Newport," and I was like, "Why?
Yeah.
What's doing that for you? Like, you're not going to be able to sell this and afford a house in Newport? Do we understand that?" And they were a lawyer, so very critical thinker. I like to say. I like to think.
Sometimes they mess up in obvious things.
But I come to find out, like what you just said, they inherited a house in Newport, and I'm like, that's how you can afford Newport.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
I feel like that's the reality
I mean,
of California.
If you were to graduate from law school, I guess in our society we think attorneys make a lot, right? They can't move there. That wasn't an option for me. Like it's so expensive that it is what it is. But it's because of the demand. It's because of where people want to be. And as you see Vegas become this, which it is, they've invested a ton into this city for this very purpose. I mean, this isn't just coming because the economy is doing well either. I mean, we kind of redid the strip, right? We opened up that big convention center, the amphitheater,
Which I drove past today. It's freaking awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. Have they
monster.
opened the amphitheater up yet?
It's their build. I was all down there today.
They're
in
still
the high
building
rise. It's okay. I've lived here since 2003. I don't get blown away anymore by it, but I never get ceased to be stunned by just a huge thing just popping up, and I never even noticed it was being built.
That is the best amphitheater in the world.
The MSG
with the
Center,
MSG guard.
which is going to be fully illuminated on the exterior.
Right. They
Where's that
redid
behind, though?
downtown.
That's
behind the wind.
Yeah, behind
Yeah.
the wind.
Behind the wind.
It's
And
going to
they're
be
saying that
awesome.
It's the smallest square footage building. They built it for like $2 billion.
Yeah, it's got
like
the
the
best
highest-
acoustics in
highest
the
price per
world or
square
something.
foot.
It's going to attract a lot of artists. They redid downtown. They put in the Oakland Stadium. I mean, not the Oakland.
I was going to say, wait, whoa.
The Raiders Stadium, the Knights Stadium. They're going to have an A Stadium. I mean, what are you looking at Vegas becoming? It's becoming
So
truly the entertainment capital of the world,
I'm
hands
going,
down.
So what's cool is like,
And you think prices are going to go down? Are you
No.
kidding me?
I went.
You know what? Just mic drop. Bravo.
There
I know.
you go.
I've got. I'm going to Guns N' Roses at the Raiders Stadium on
Nice.
Saturday.
Well, that's
And I
dope.
went. I bought the tickets right after I went to that Garth Brooks concert.
Yeah.
And I didn't know any of the words to the Garth Brooks concert, but I just got some tickets.
Yeah.
And then, so it's really cool, and it's like, it's really cool to be in a new stadium.
What, the Raiders Stadium?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been in it yet. It was pretty sweet.
It was cool. It was really cool.
Have you guys been in it yet?
I got a tour of it. Yeah,
Yeah, how is it?
it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And I don't follow sports, so
No.
I'm not a sports person, but it's cool we got some cool stuff here. Really cool stuff.
So I'm going to kind of end the segment of talking about new home buyers.
We're talking about our daily routine now?
Yeah, we're going to talk about some stuff into this.
I use moisturizer.
No, but I think first-time home buyers are really getting pushed out. You talked about 450, 500. You could still buy a home as a first-time home buyer. I'm not saying you can't, but I think a lot of people are really missing out. And I don't see it stopping anytime soon. Unfortunately, we're starting to see these numbers really increase with first-time home buyers. What's the average buyer out there right now for you guys? I mean, I know we talked about it's 450 to 500, but I mean, these people typically look like they got a lot of assets, a lot of capital. Maybe they got really well established. Maybe they got a good business going or businesses. Like, what is the average client you deal with now?
So this year, I took the gas off a bit from my developing new business, and I've been doing all right with referrals. It's been fortunate. So I've got luck. I don't know if it's lucky. I think I've earned it. But I've got more better buyers that are referrals that have money, and that's more enjoyable as professionally than like pulling teeth.
Yeah,
You know,
100. What I'm saying, and you're right. I'm looking at that starter, group or maybe
starter group.
Well, what I mean by is this is if you got just enough money to get into a house, maybe you're just pulling everything together. You really don't have gift funds. You don't have a ton of assets. You're just kind of getting started in life, or maybe you just started in buying your first home. That's the people we're talking about.
Yeah.
Is those people I feel they don't have a shot. I'm not saying that they can't buy. They're just competing against people like
It's
what
really
you're working
hard.
with. Right.
It's hard, and so I can only work with what I'm presented with, and when I always say this every time, it's challenging, and you have to get lucky, or you have to have some inside knowledge to get an offer accepted if you're light on cash.
Explain
Like
what you mean by inside knowledge. Like there's definitely a tactic when it comes to working with the agent, right?
Let me explain. Like, Kit, like you don't buy properties out the MLS, do you?
Nope.
So you got to, like, Kit's a professional at doing this, and you need to encounter situations where you can go in and help the people. But like, as an agent that's paid through the MLS in commissions, like those opportunities aren't in the MLS anymore. Like where there's like a problem, and then you can be there at the right time, give exactly what the seller needs with the timing that's right, and then get in and get out, or get in and keep the property. But like all those options are off the table right now in the current state of the market. And so it's tough. Like, and I'm saying this because like what I'm doing is I'm like saying something that's going to affect my ability to maybe help you. But like, it's really hard right now. And I might suggest to someone that's in a tough spot to, like, if they're living in an apartment complex or renting,
So is it a
they
challenge?
should go knock on all the neighbors' doors and say, hey, I want to buy your house. Like, but they don't know how to do that, which is why they, there's so many, I've been doing this since like 2008 or 9. Like, there's so many conversations you have to have. There's so many pieces to this puzzle that it's hard for someone to do it themselves.
So you're talking about
I'm talking about, like, if you FHA and you don't know what you're doing anyway, there's no way around it. I'm just trying to be optimistic for them. It's really hard.
He's trying to say, like, if you're an FHA buyer, the best thing you do is go knock on your neighbor's door and
say,
hope
I want to buy your house.
Want to sell to
Yeah,
you.
that's smart, Matt.
But like, I don't get paid telling you to do that. Like, if you need shelter, you got to take accountability. You can't blame the economy. You can't blame the COVID.
agent
You can't blame anyone. If you want to take ownership of that, if you want to take ownership of your ship, then you have to fucking, excuse my language.
Yeah.
You have to get on it.
You got to steer it.
And so
you got to bloody steer it.
you got to bloody steer it. And man the cannon.
And don't be a wanker.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm just saying, it's just the sad reality of what we're presented with right now.
It is. It really is. I feel like the only
You
way
know?
to get like inside knowledge is to, I get people that'll email me every once in a while. It's very rare that an agent will do it, but they'll say, hey, I have a buyer there in this criteria. Do you have anything you're currently rehabbing? It's rare, but it's always open. People could do that anytime.
Are you starting to get that more often now in this kind of market?
No, I really don't.
haven't done
I don't know why. I feel like agents sometimes just don't
Go that extra mile.
They don't. Well, not only that, they don't think outside the box. Sometimes they're presented with the MLS, and then they think, and that's their world. And sometimes they forget that a quick phone call, and you can have 8 other properties that you can go show your buyer on Saturday.
That you're rehabbing before you put on the list.
Before.
So that's a great idea, right?
100%. You can totally do
That's
that.
a great idea.
I do that with all my buyers.
Because
Somebody
you're
emails me,
not
I email them.
motivated to list till you're done anyhow, right?
Correct. And if you want to buy it for a price that I'm willing to sell it,
Yeah, you're entertaining offers at the moment.
Feel free. Totally.
There you go. Outside the box, things can be
Outside the
accomplished.
box.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
So for an average FHA buyer out there, I'm not saying that there's not a lot, but would a realtor actually bypass them to work with them? And I mean this wholeheartedly, because you got to look at it like,
Well, the buyers do that.
Well, the buyer's agent. Like, let's say if you're a buyer's agent, and let's say you're out there and you're like, hey, you know what? I got a client. I mean, there's a market for every client. But they're like, you know what? This is going to be a tough deal. And I don't know if I want to put the effort, and I really got to roll up my sleeves for this one, because you go back 5 years, you can get them into a home, no problem. In this market, are you going to pick your spots? You're going to pick your battles with these clients and say, you know what? I'm not
Just
the right
don't be
fit
like-
for you. You know what I mean?
I just came up with that. I just came up with that saying like, go knock on your neighbor's. I mean,
I started buying houses that
I
way.
know,
But
I
your
know.
point's well
But
taken.
no.
as
But
far as
what I'm
you're trying
saying
to
is,
say.
what I'm saying is, from your perspective, I flipped homes and do it as a business, but you're like there to get the house for, you're there to make money and to help people,
Yeah.
right? But I guess if you were like having a hard time, you could find someone and then ask someone to like help you with the transaction afterwards. But there's a lot that you can. There's a lot of ways you can suffer by not knowing what you don't know, and so I caution, but I don't know. It's sad. It's sad.
It's a tough
It's sad.
situation.
It's a really
But
sad
the solution
situation.
isn't to call the listing agent and be like, "Hi, I want to buy this house," and no, I don't have representation. I feel like that's not the solution. Yet buyers do that.
They do that, and I gotta say, it does work because they will,
Well,
it-
the
it
listing
works.
agent will be like, "Yes, I will double dip.
It
I will
works.
gladly accept my
it-
full commission fee."
Yeah, it works. It does work. And
Listen, it does work.
Yeah, it does work. But the thing
I don't
is-
think it's quite the solution. They're not representing their best interests.
No, absolutely not.
Right. So if you're a
Absolutely
first-time buyer, like we're talking, don't do that.
No,
You're not supposed to buy the listing
it's
agent?
just it's sad. It's a sad
That's the first
situation.
time I did.
we're
Did I
in.
ever tell you the story about the first time? Or the only time
You
I bought a
bribed the
house?
listing agent?
No. This is, when was it, 19? There was a house next to my house we were renting, and I want to buy a house because we were renting, and like this thing was for sale. And I was like, oh, I'll call them up and see what they want for it or whatever. I mean, I wasn't going to execute anything, but anyhow.
Yeah.
I don't think it ever went to her. Somehow I get to some other like guy who's saying wants to be my real estate agent. I'm like, yeah, sure. Can you show me this house? Right? Like, yeah, you're sure my agent. I don't care. It's like, all right, well, let me like get your wife and stuff on the phone. We'll have a meeting. I'm like, can you just show me the house? And he's like, let's have a meeting tomorrow. And then you get on tomorrow. And he's like, let me get my headset on.
He's trying to vet you
And
before
he's
he
like,
shows
no,
you
he's
the
like,
house.
I want to do like this 2-hour interview. I'm like, dude, all I want is this house, or we'll start there, and I'll probably buy something else. And then my wife's like, well, I bought a house before. I use this real estate person. She's good. I'm like, all right, let's go with her. So I have to tell this other guy who's like basically calling me nonstop and emailing
course.
nonstop, like breaking up. I'm like, hey, dude.
We're breaking up.
Yeah. Hey, dude. Sorry. Want somebody else. Phone down. Right. Like, move on.
Phone
It was
comes ringing
weird.
up.
It was like a girl like stalking me, except there was like this guy. And then I don't check my email because I knew he was going to respond.
Yeah.
And then I check it like 4 hours later, and I've got like 20 messages in there. And he starts like, I'm reading these messages, and at one point he starts accusing me of basically letting my wife wear the pants in the relationship. Like, oh, I don't want that stuff go out of my house. Like, that's how you're. I'm like,
He might have needed
this is how you get clients, dude. Like,
he needed the
straight-
transaction
straight
to pay
up-
the rent.
Yeah,
Come
so
on.
I didn't respond to him. But that's what I thought real estate people were like. But you guys are cool.
But a lot of them are like that.
Thank you. But there are a lot of cool,
All right, so
cool
let's
people
get
out there.
let's kind of finish up the show because I know everybody's got some things going on. So Matt, I want to talk to you for a second, man. So a lot of people, and this is the segment that Joe Dragon wanted me to talk about. So on a daily basis, man, you go out and you know, what does your day look like when you go to work? Like you wake up, you get the coffee, you scratch your,
Yeah.
We're gonna do this.
your
Get up,
back or
Wake up. I wake
People
up.
want to know about this stuff. I'm
Yeah.
serious. They really do.
I wake up. Have coffee.
yeah.
I chew nicotine gum.
Hey, how many nicotine gums do you hit on a daily basis? Would you say?
Too many.
How many?
It's the
He's
right
already up to
answer.
3 just right now.
So, I like it.
Yeah. What is it like? What makes it like? Obviously, it's the nicotine, right? It's like it keeps you from obviously wanting to smoke or do anything. But like, what is the flavor like? I guess.
Minty, but I mean, you know, I mean,
We haven't got past the gum yet.
yeah.
I'm not even like.
Are we at 7 a.m.? I need a time.
We'll come back for episode 2.
Coffee, and then sometimes I go to an AA meeting in the morning at like 7 o'clock. That's
Okay.
good. I have my kids half the time, so if I have my children, then I make the lunches, take them to school, and then
Do you have your kids every week, or is it like a
yeah,
1 day
50%
off,
of the
1 day
time.
off? Okay.
No, like Wednesdays, Thursdays, and every other weekend.
Okay.
And so I make the lunches, take them to school, go to the office, make some calls. I have historically worked much harder, where like I would be on the phone for like 2.5 hours in the morning.
Okay.
But I haven't been doing that this year, which is, I said, it's on me because I've been doing other things, but business has still been okay.
No judgment. No judgment.
No, but
no,
I'm judging
literally
myself.
none.
I'm judging myself.
Well,
And
you could be your own, you're your own critic, right? I
yeah,
mean,
of course. So like, when I was doing like 2 or 3 hours in the morning, like 5 days a week,
Yeah.
I had triple the amount of escrows. But like, that's fine. But they were lower price points. But anyway, whatever. And then I'll have lunch, and then in the afternoon I'll go show properties and do stuff. And then depending on like, I pick my son's school schedule's ridiculous. Like it varies, but like I pick him up at 3:30, take him home. I may work still more, and they'll be at home. They're older, they're teenagers.
Yeah.
And then when I don't have my children, then I go in the. I go to the gym a lot. Like that's my kind of new addiction.
So you're like
that's
a
not
gym
a new
rat
addiction,
now.
but I have an I
Which
have
gym?
addictions, and I put them into like work. I can put them into work, like nicotine gum and working out, and healthy addictions that make money and are productive.
Yeah.
Versus like unhealthy addictions, which would be, in the past I drank a lot.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good addiction to have.
Not drinking.
Not drinking.
Gym. What gym do you go to? I think he was trying to bring that.
LVAC.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been I was at a fancy gym called Lifetime, but my kids were members there as well, and it was like $300 a month, and the kids don't even care, and I don't like the vibe. It's a bit snooty.
Yeah.
And it's not like when I go to LVAC, I zone out, crank up the music, and pound it out for 2 hours.
Yeah. So like, what's your?
And also at LVAC, the depends what LVAC you go to, because I've done an analysis of like the sociology of each gym, and the one I go to is on Eastern and 215.
Oh,
And
yeah. Hey.
that's a good one.
Do you ever do like where a lot of these people they work out just like one body part? You do a full body workout?
No, I just do one body part.
That's it. You just
I-
like
no,
you know how those
left
people
or right
work
arm.
out.
So I do 2 body parts. It depends, but anyway, that's what I do, and then I have a smoothie afterwards, and then maybe I'll catch another AA meeting if I didn't go in the morning.
It's like when those people work out their chest all the time. And that's all they work out.
Yeah, yeah.
And they never work
But
out
can
their
I
legs.
say-
They'll just work out the upper body.
I gotta say though, obviously it's classified, but AA is fun because it's the cheapest shit show in town, and it's like $1 or $2, and it's real good entertainment, but it's also spiritually enriching as well. And also what I like is I've got a captive audience for my comedy, and I just say whatever I like, so I enjoy that.
And it's like there's no like nobody's gonna like criticize you or judge you. It's like okay, I get
You
it.
shouldn't swear.
Okay, that's the only thing.
You shouldn't really swear.
that's hard.
Some people get upset, but it's fine.
All right.
That's me.
David!
So anyway,
I think that's the end of the show.
What do you do, man, on a daily? Like, what are your hobbies, man? Do you got like what do you do? Like, what makes you tick?
I think my favorite hobby would be traveling. I love to travel. So actually, speaking of San
Where
Diego,
you been?
I was out in San Diego last month. So we went out there. It was my niece's birthday. We went out there, hung out at the beach, went to the zoo, did all sorts of activities. So
freaking love that too.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
it's a
amazing.
cool zoo.
You got any like international travel?
Yeah, quite a bit.
Where you been?
Not recently because of COVID.
Well, yeah,
It's been
of
like 2
course.
years. I've been to South Korea, Gangnam District in Seoul. That was amazing. That was
That's cool.
really cool. The Bahamas. I did a cruise from Miami to the Bahamas. That was amazing. Where else? Puerto Rico.
So what do you
Mexico.
What was your favorite?
What do you do? What do you do on a daily basis
Oh,
with
sorry,
work?
off topic.
Yeah, because I think we're
Damn
going
it,
off of
dragon.
Yeah,
Dan and I share an office.
yeah, huh?
We share an office.
Okay.
Yeah, we have the same
So do you
offices.
guys do the same exact thing? Like you guys go to the gym together and all that, or
No,
You
we
are in
haven't
the
had
exact same office, or you got a separate unit?
exact same office.
So you just heard Matt's voice
Like,
all
like
day.
a room like this.
so
Yeah,
you
two
so you
desks.
guys are pounding the phones then, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so you wake up, you get to work, you're pounding the phones. Like what is your daily like routine?
guys
got
carpool?
300 calls in a day.
Yeah, no, I'm a little more active. I don't know if he's taking it a little bit easy. I'm
I've
trying to.
I've been on a hiatus, like healing
Sabbatical?
hiatus.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
But how
Yeah,
many
I've been-
calls a day? How many do you do?
Right now, I average about 150 calls a day. Yeah, so
That's
depending
pretty
on.
solid, man.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
That's a grinder.
Good for
yeah.
you.
So daily basis, I mean, get my coffee in the morning, hit the office, and then just do a checklist. I always start off with my clients that are in contract first. So I follow up with all the emails, all the clients that have in contract first.
Okay.
Once I finish all those emails, then I'll get started on the calls. And then by like mid afternoon, I'll crank out, 100 calls or so.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Do you do the gym?
Yeah, I haven't gone in a while, but I need to get back in the routine. There's a CrossFit gym over.
CrossFit's good.
Yeah, on Silverado Ranch.
Bad for your joints though.
I think speaking about the
Might kill yourself too.
the area,
Yeah,
it's
it's
gonna
like
be,
hard, it's can be risky, but good. You'll get in the best shape
As
ever
long as you
doing
don't
CrossFit. Do CrossFit for 3 months straight.
That's
You know,
not true. I gained like 15 pounds at CrossFit.
Yeah, but it was,
I was
probably
also-
rock hard
Really?
muscle.
I was
Seriously,
lifting.
Joe?
I was
Really?
I never got it off. I know I look great.
You do.
But I missed the joke.
I'm surprised.
Yeah. So go over to Dragon. What's up, buddy? So what do you do? Like, what does your day look like? I know you drink like four or five cups of coffee, right? Is that what?
Yeah,
is
well,
that like throughout the day? Is that in the beginning? Like, what? You
Now it's all contingent on Baby Dragon.
Oh,
Yeah.
If he used to have this thing called like organized schedule, but if he
How old is
actually
he now?
he's been good.
How old
been
is
good.
he?
So he's just over 3 months.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but if he was like, I got to take care of him first, right? And then sometimes you don't sleep, so then it kind of messes. But actually, he's been good. So I don't know.
That's cool.
Get up, make sure he's got clean diapers. You don't want him poop in there, and feed, unless Lindsay does it. Then cup of coffee. I do what you do, David. The first thing I do is I look at what my clients, what's going on with all their cases. If I need to talk to them, I'll talk to them. Then I look at their cases. That's always priority. What needs to be done? Do I need motions or whatnot? It just depends on the task of whatever you're doing going that
Right.
day. Then after I organize, I work through that, 2 tasks, whatever. And then if I got time, I always, because you're on your own business, you always got to market. So I got to do things like write blogs. Usually I do at the end of the day. It's a little,
What's your
fun.
downtime look like? Like, what do you do for like fun, man? That's I guess is what I'm trying. Like,
you asked the daily routine.
I know, but like,
If I had it my way, I'd be partying all day. What can you say? No, I like to. I'm a huge skier, so I get
you're a skier.
yeah, I get 2 season
See, I never knew he was a skier.
passes every winter. So winter, I'm traveling a lot because I used to live up in Reno, in Tahoe, and used to work at resorts. So that is the downside of being down here. I don't have that access, but I still get 10 days, 12 days a year, which I think is good at my age. I used to be a huge
it's
rock
really
climber.
good.
Maybe I should get back into rock climbing. I used to do that all the time.
Dude, you
down here.
fit like no tomorrow.
You are, but I did that 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I could do 20 pull-ups. Now, don't worry, I'm not bragging because I couldn't even do half one right now. But door jam pull-ups,
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
like, and you realize how fit you are, and like, I should have
Yeah.
enjoyed it more. I think the ladies would have loved it. They
Yeah.
just would have known.
So that's it.
Put that in your Instagram bio. Your Instagram. I used to do
Yeah.
20 pull-ups.
This used to be me
Used
15
to.
years
No,
ago.
you got to reset it.
And yeah, mostly I just hang out with the fam, man. Honestly, you get in that.
I think
family
you get
life.
older, but I mean, you still like have interests. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
I watch dirt bike racing all the time. Like that's what
49ers
I'm
are coming up.
into. So you're a
NFL's coming
football.
up.
You're a football fan.
Giants are in first place. Yeah, I'm a big sports fan.
Okay.
I try to do, like, if there's an experience in life, and I have an opportunity to do it, I'm about it. I don't care
me
what
too.
it is.
Me
It's
too.
just like,
I love that.
and I always try to fill things in. So I guess you only get one in life, man. Most people are
You
worried
got to
about.
make memories.
Hell yeah.
Most people are at real estate, and that time they would have made money. I'm like,
running
we
at
win, we
altitude.
lose. Let's just have fun.
Also, over here, Mr. Kit Carson. So Carson, he has a famous last name, and it was brought to my attention by Joe Dragon over here. So kind of give us an insight, your family, because I know they had the show before, but kind of go in more depth. Like, what do you know about your family, man? Like, are you somebody that...
I know. I studied it.
So you were in it.
Oh,
So you're
very-
related to
Yep.
Carson.
5th generation.
Wow,
the
that's
frontiersman.
Really, that's
the
really cool.
frontiersman, the trailblazer, the pioneer.
So you from Northern
himself.
Nevada?
Not originally. So my grandfather bought the ranch in California in the 60s. And my dad grew up there. and I
What
grew up
ranch?
there.
Like its significance?
No, it's just the ranch.
Okay,
I call
you just
it
call it the ranch.
Yeah, the Carson Ranch, if you will. It's only 100 acres. But that's where my dad grew up. I grew up there. And then I went to UNR and then stayed, never left. So
I bet you that name at UNR and people recognize it a lot.
Northern Nevada, it gave me a lot more clout than Southern Nevada.
Yeah.
That is for sure.
So like that story with
Northern Nevada's
You guys know
beautiful.
that show Bonanza?
I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is
Dude,
that
no,
related
what's the-
to
what's-
like
I used-
Carson City or up north?
I don't
right?
know the show.
You don't
Sorry.
know the show?
I don't know the show.
Well,
Hey,
we used to have
basic-
that in England, Bonanza, and I can't remember. It's like, what's the opening song, the jingle? No. What-
was
what's it?
ESPN.
That's Sports Center.
No. Do you know what I mean? We used to have Bonanza when I was a kid. I used to watch it on TV because I used to love Cowboys and Indians and all that stuff.
Yeah, the Europeans love it.
We loved it.
Love it.
Yeah.
We love
Their
it.
stuff. But I mean, well, the story was like,
Well, yeah. So, no, he left home. He grew up in, I believe it was Kentucky. He left at 15 to just basically saddle the
off.
horse and went west.
yeah.
And the main reason, so I have his autobiography, and we have a bunch of first
And
edition
that's
books
your
that have been passed
great,
down.
great granddad?
No, uncle, technically.
Uncle.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
How many
basically-
generations?
4
Five.
grades? Five.
five. Yeah.
Okay.
So
That's cool.
The story, according to the people so he couldn't write. He couldn't. I think he could read, but he couldn't write. So he had to dictate his whole story to somebody else. And so the books, the way that they're written, he basically, what is he doing?
Here we go,
Does
man.
your family still?
Let's do the Bonanza.
Yeah. This is the intro. Press play.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Oh, I see why you're asking that. It
Yeah,
says
see?
Carson City.
Yeah, you see it?
So Dan just went out and find the Carson City.
That's cool. I used to look forward to that when I was a kid.
Yeah, but he basically was tasked with like mapping and exploring the
Yes,
West,
and
and then like he brought
became
over the
he became
U.S.
the head,
Army, I believe,
yeah,
right?
So he became the lead scout for General Fremont when Fremont was trying to move to California as we were for the Mexican War. We were taking California at the time.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of history in that.
Well, there's a lot of
messed
history.
up. They tried to keep the
There-
Quesadillas.
there's
and like, no.
yeah, there's a lot there. But so they contracted him, and he had I think it was about 12 guys that he worked with at any given time, and so the military contracted Kit Carson and his guys to take them over the Sierras into the Sacramento Valley.
Right.
And
Which
that's
is-
kind of what he's famous for.
So
doing
let's-
That's why you have Carson City, which
What-
I believe was named,
It's named after the river, Carson River.
but the person he was under named it after him.
Yeah,
I was reading about it.
yeah, it was the
What's the name of
town
your
people.
What's the name of your grandfather?
Kit Carson.
Kit Carson.
Kit Carson. Oh, so it's all the same. Okay.
Yeah, if you just do Kit Carson right
So
there.
does your family,
Which one? Right here.
No, that'll match.
You
Here.
probably do American Trapper. That would
This
come
guy.
up.
Let's take a look at this real quick.
That's him.
So this is him right here. Let me move this real quick.
Click on that picture there.
Click on this. The
Go on Wikipedia. There'll be a big
This
Wikipedia
one.
on him.
Right here.
I
Right
updated Wikipedia to make it sound awesome. No, I'm
Oh,
just
you
kidding.
did? It's
I'm
this
kidding.
guy right here then, huh? This is your guy.
This is him.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
1809.
18.
Does your family have any like cool things like heirlooms or anything?
A lot of it is books. So we have a ton of first edition books that have been passed down. They're
That's
real
cool.
old, written like in the late 1800s. I keep them in like a cool glass case.
That's
at
cool,
my
Kat.
house. Yeah. When my dad passed, I got all of that stuff. So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
That's cool. No, that's awesome.
You
What
guys
is-
split it up with the siblings?
No, I'm the only son, so I didn't have to split anything.
Get it all.
I got it all.
Tell us what you do on a real quick, concise daily basis.
Oh, okay,
man.
all right.
He explores
I
the
too-
West.
I too have a gym addiction. I've lost probably 45 pounds.
Good for you.
Oh,
Yeah,
congrats.
I used to weigh a lot. It was really unhealthy. So I have a gym addiction. I wake up early, about 5:30.
I just can't do the early rise.
Yeah,
I've tried.
it's my
and I just can't
anxiety.
get
You
on
need
it.
more anxiety. That's what you need. so my anxiety wakes me up at 5:30. Let's start there, and then the alarm goes off. Coffee. I take some pre-workout, and then I work out until probably 8:30, give or take, and then shower. Usually, I try and stop everything at 8:30 because that's when the phone starts ringing.
Yeah.
People just start calling around 8:30.
So
for whatever
what's your
reason.
hobbies? I know you flip homes. You do a lot of that. So what?
I
what
play a
else?
lot of golf.
Lot of
I love-
golf.
And let me
love
say, I
playing
played
golf.
with him 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And a good golfer is a modest golfer. And he asked what his handicap is, and you said scratch, right? Which is even. That's very good. And then he backs it up like shot one under.
Shot one under.
Yeah, and I'm not saying like, oh, he shanked something and didn't count it or mulligan. Like this guy is.
So
legit.
you're that good, huh?
I'm pretty good.
How long
He's
have
very
you
good.
been playing golf?
Since my dad could hand me a club, so it was probably
Wow.
5.
I'm trying to entice for some free lessons. I don't know how to get them.
You just pay for the golf and maybe a beer. No. I've been playing for a long time. I played in college. I played for UNR.
Oh,
so I was
wow.
a Division I athlete up there. Yeah.
Very cool.
All right, guys, got anything else to say? Anything? Does anybody want to bring any type of, I don't know, something from your job, like as far as promoting yourself? Like, what do you guys want to do?
Well, we got the 2 best real estate
Yeah,
people here.
You know,
The best loan analyst.
If you need help, I'll help you.
The best. We buy your homes cheap.
Yeah.
I'm a realtor too.
and the best attorney ever.
There you
So
go.
Yeah.
there we go. The dream team.
And you need to help David's client
I
because
know, if
they need a stern letter.
I mean,
they should cave in. I reckon they'll cave in, but they need some. They need to be lit up a little bit.
the way you described
And
it
they're
really
being
wasn't.
rude. They're being
wasn't-
very rude.
Well, and the way you described it really wasn't that complicated.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, you know how to get me. I'd be more than happy
Write a
to help.
letter.
Well, guys, listen. We all want to earn your business, and we would all be grateful to have your business. Give us a call. I'm gonna have everybody's contact information, and I really will on the comment sections. And if you guys have any questions about anything about the show, let us know. Also, I want to put this out here. This channel is the most real and behind-the-scenes information regarding financing, real estate, money talk, entrepreneurs through on-job experience and education here in Las Vegas. I want to answer a couple of questions here, and then we'll end the show. So the first question I have is, Dan, does your company sell loans? Yes, we sell some loans, but we don't sell all of our loans. So that's a good question. We are a direct lender, though, and I think that's what people need to know. Brett Jenny. Who's that guy? He said, do you think I should take out a
Brett,
second mortgage on
there.
my house
Absolutely, Brett.
and buy
Yeah.
this thing called
crypto.
Bitcoin?
yeah.
100%. It's going to the moon.
Does anybody know what Bitcoin is?
You got it right there, dude.
Hey, I own Bitcoin.
Absolutely, Brett.
All right, let's go to another one. Running at altitude said don't skip cardio. So if you guys are out there,
Never skip cardio.
Never.
No.
You don't
That's how you
skip.
cut.
Do you skip cardio, David?
Never, no.
Nobody else
That's how
skips
you
cardio.
cut. You got to do it.
I got a Peloton.
I do too. I freaking
So-
love that
Yeah,
thing.
I'm on it
Oh
like every
my
day.
God,
Let's
I
just go
love
at
it.
it. 2 years ago, I was fat and unhealthy, and you just got to chip away.
But no,
That's all you can do.
I told my wife this morning.
I'll
morning.
show you
I
a
said,
picture,
I
Joe.
said,
Joe, I'll show you a picture.
Okay, well,
I said, look,
but I want you
nobody
to
gets
change.
fat overnight.
No,
So if you
it takes
expect,
weeks.
it takes. Well, in my case, it took years.
Took 2 years.
But
I mean,
you can't get healthy overnight either.
I mean,
Just
if
doesn't
you
work.
if you said, could you gain 20 pounds in a week?
It's highly unlikely. 1 pound of
Put your
fat is
mind
like
to it.
350. What is it? 3,500 calories. You'd have to eat that. You'd have to eat 20 times that over your normal
Yeah.
calorie intake.
Seems doable.
Got to trim the fat.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Everybody trim the fat. Also, everybody said follow Old Kit Carson Trail. That's pretty cool.
That's my.
Yep.
That's my
Yep.
wife,
oh, your wife.
Leanna.
Oh, the actual
Shout
Kit
out to
Carson
Leanna.
Trail.
Yeah, so that's the Nevada State song. So it's in,
Old Kit Car-
it's in
I'm
the
telling
song.
you, this is a bit. And we wanted to get into a history lesson on Nevada, which we didn't have time to. I thought Dan was going to lead into it, but
No,
I guess next time.
Well, because you got a thing, don't you?
Yeah, about you went to Nevada. I'm just gonna say. So Nevada is the best school in probably the country. I'd say the University of Nevada,
The University of Nevada is the best.
and it was
university.
founded in what, like 1870, like shortly after it became a state.
Yeah.
And I don't know if people know this, but Nevada became a state because Lincoln needed some more of those electoral votes to secure a presidency. So it became part of the Union, and that's why we're called Battle Born, because we won the Civil War. After the Civil War,
Facts.
there was the southern campus of the University of Nevada who decided to break off and rebel and call themselves UNLV, which is like, okay, whatever.
Ooh.
And literally, I don't think people would know this, is that the mascot, the rebel, the reason they called themselves the Rebels was because they were rebelling against the University of Nevada.
It's good information.
And they said that's what the Confederates did. They rebelled. So they associate themselves with the losing South Confederates. And by the way, obviously racist and all that.
Wow.
That's UNLV, or you can go to the University of Nevada.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
yeah.
Honestly, it's a junior college down here. So thank you.
Yeah.
All
No,
right,
but
guys.
we love you guys. If you go there, no harm. Call me up. I can still help you out.
Right. Let's end the show, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back here on Saturday. Appreciate all the support. And if you guys haven't hit the like button, please hit that like button. If you have comments for anybody in this room, they're watching the YouTube channel as well. So if you guys have questions, definitely reach out to them individually and see if they can get those questions answered. Guys, thank you so much, and we'll see you at the next stream. Thank you for watching an episode of the French Workbench Podcast. If you want to tune into past episodes, please subscribe to my channel now. Also, if you want to look at our audio-only options, we do have iTunes and SoundCloud.